destroy the state. The law enforcement has been decimated. The judges, what's gone on with the judges in New York, there's no justice. We're not getting justice in New York. And yet she speaks so.
All right, you're listening
bravely.
to former President Donald Trump speaking live in Howell, Michigan, specifically about liberal policies and how they have destroyed major cities.
Wow, Donald Trump's speech in Howell, Michigan was disappointing again. His comments on the decline of law enforcement and the alleged lack of justice in New York were not only alarming, but completely incoherent. It was as if he was trying to scare his audience into submission. Doesn't it say something that even his most ardent supporters at OAN and Newsmax decided to cut him off mid-sentence? They were worried that if viewers saw this version of Trump, exhausted, erratic, and clearly insane, they might start to doubt his abilities. And honestly, can you blame them? Every time Trump opened his mouth to say these things, it was like watching someone collapse in real time. His rhetoric became more and more disconnected from reality, and it was clear that he was struggling to stay sane. How much longer can we ignore the clear signs of his decline? Trump's failed presidency is not just about his record. It is now about his deteriorating mental state. The more he speaks, the more he alienates potential voters by demonstrating that he is unfit for any office, let alone the presidency. It is time to seriously consider whether this is the kind of leadership we want, or whether it is time for a change.
Insane, but you can't walk across the street to get a loaf of bread. You get shot, you get mugged, you get raped, you get whatever it may be. And you've seen it, and I've seen it, and it's time for a change. We have to bring back our cities. We have these cities that are great cities where people are afraid to live in them now.
Every time Donald Trump takes the stage, his chaos becomes more apparent. His recent speech, in which he absurdly claimed that just stepping outside could put him at risk of being shot, robbed, or worse, was a prime example of how out of touch with reality he has become. The speech was more than just alarmist. It was a desperate attempt to stoke fear and rally support for a campaign that is struggling. As I have observed, Trump's portrayal of America as a land of violence and danger is not only hyperbolic, but fundamentally unrealistic. His portrayal of everyday life as a dangerous journey, where basic activities like buying bread can become dangerous, is a clear reflection of his mental state and his waning grasp of reality. This fear-mongering approach, designed to scare voters into supporting him, stands in stark contrast to the hopeful, progressive messages from leaders like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. All right, it's becoming increasingly clear that Trump's strategies are not only failing to resonate, but are also driving away potential supporters. His desperate need to paint a bleak picture of America reveals a leader struggling to adapt and connect with voters. The more he relies on fear and misinformation, the more he undermines his credibility and alienates voters who are looking for a positive vision for the future. How much longer can we tolerate this kind of divisive, inauthentic leadership? As Trump continues to unravel, it's becoming increasingly clear that his approach is not only ineffective, but actively detrimental to his campaign and to the country's sense of unity and progress.
Crime-free America. We want a crime-free America. We're going to stop violent crime in the United States. And it's people like this that can do the job better than anybody. They do the job justly and fairly. But there's nobody like these people.
Highs. Hearing Donald Trump talk about creating a crime-free America is truly infuriating, especially when you consider his legal troubles. Here's a man who has been indicted on 34 felony charges and is currently a convicted felon. Yet he dares to present himself as the ultimate solution to violent crime in the United States. It's a level of hypocrisy that's almost hard to grasp. I think Trump's assertion that he's the one to tackle crime, while he is entangled in a web of legal issues, not only defies belief, but also highlights the disturbing disconnect between his words and his actions. He stands before the public, promising to restore justice and safety, while his criminal record tells a different story. How can he possibly maintain a straight face while making such grandiose claims? What's even more shocking is seeing police officers standing behind him, visibly uncomfortable, but still supporting him. It's astonishing to think that these law enforcement professionals are backing a man who's under multiple indictments and facing serious felony charges. Plus, the sheer audacity of Trump's claims and the support he continues to receive, despite his glaring legal issues, underscores a troubling reality. His speeches have become a showcase of blatant dissonance. He promises a crime-free America while being deeply enmeshed in his criminal controversies. This disconnect not only reveals Trump's deep-seated hypocrisy, but also highlights the broader issues of integrity and accountability that are so desperately needed in leadership.
Her father is, as you know, a Marxist professor, and he obviously did a good job. But this is where she's coming from. And, you see her now with a smile, and she's gotten rid of the laugh over the last couple of days. I haven't seen her laugh. They've told her, don't laugh, please. But I'll bet inside she was laughing last night when she saw the way Joe Biden left. Because that was a coup. That was a coup. And I'm no fan of his at all. And it started with the debate, and from that point on, it just got worse and worse. But that was a coup. It was a vicious, violent overthrow of a president of the United States.
Trump's latest tirade against Kamala Harris and Joe Biden is a prime example of his growing disconnect from reality. He is now calling the peaceful transfer of power a coup, an irony that is almost too far-fetched to bear, considering his own failed attempt to undermine democracy on January 6, 2021. It's a classic case of projection. Trump's accusations often reveal more about his actions and thinking than they do about the people he's attacking. Do you find it hard to believe that Trump continues to peddle wild conspiracy theories, desperately trying to undermine Kamala Harris and Joe Biden? It's becoming increasingly clear that he can't handle the prospect of facing Kamala Harris, who remains undeterred by his provocations. He doesn't engage in substantive debate, but instead resorts to baseless criticism and name-calling, as if this will somehow magically turn the tide in his favor. Ouch! Trump's attacks on Kamala Harris, including his bizarre remarks about her background and his insistence that she is chuckling at his downfall, are not only baseless, but also reflect his deep insecurities. While Trump is mired in fear and conspiracies, Harris represents a hopeful and constructive path. Her decision not to get drawn into Trump's chaos speaks volumes about her strength and composure. The more Trump tries to frame the legal actions of Biden and Harris as dark plots, the more it becomes clear that he is losing his grip on reality.
There has been a report that the job numbers over the last period of time were fraudulent, and I understand that because I know how the job numbers go, and you want to be a bad person in high office, you can be a bad person, but the numbers are going to be revised.
When Trump started ranting about job numbers being fraudulent, I couldn't help but laugh. Here we go again with his endless parade of baseless accusations. It seems like every time something positive happens that doesn't fit his narrative, he cries fake. Whether it's polls, awards, or now, even economic data. What struck me about this latest outburst is how Trump, in his attempt to discredit the excellent job numbers under the Biden-Harris administration, is inadvertently admitting how impressive they are. Think about it. By calling these positive job figures fake, Trump is essentially saying that the economy must be doing so well that it feels unreal to him. It's like he's giving a backhanded endorsement to the Biden-Harris economic policies, which is pretty ironic given his usual stance. But it gets even better. Or rather, worse. Trump's comment about knowing how to be a bad person in office makes me shudder. He's not just casually admitting that he's familiar with abusing power, he's practically boasting about it. It's like he's laying bare his failings and shortcomings, while simultaneously trying to paint others as the bad guys. Each time Trump speaks, his words seem to unravel any shred of credibility he might have had left. And, let's not forget, Newsmax cut this speech short. If even his most ardent supporters are pulling the plug, you know things are getting dire. So here we are, witnessing the spectacular collapse of Trump's public persona. Isn't it fascinating and a bit unsettling to see how far he's fallen? As we head toward Election Day, I can't help but wonder, how much more of this delusional rhetoric will we have to endure? Let's wrap up. Trump's speeches have become a case study in how desperation can erode credibility and how a once formidable figure can become a cautionary tale. Each absurd claim and blatant hypocrisy not only undermines his standing, but raises serious questions about the state of political discourse and leadership in our country. As we get closer to the election, it is important to reflect on the kind of leadership we want for our future. The contrast between Trump's fear-mongering and the hopeful progressive messages of his opponents is stark. The choice before us is not just about policies or character, but about the kind of vision and values we want to guide our nation. If you're as captivated as I am by watching Donald Trump's public unraveling, hit that follow button to stay updated with the latest analyses and insights into this political drama. We'll keep diving deep into every move made by the key players, giving you the most accurate and engaging commentary. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and share this video so we can continue to explore these unfolding events together.